Doors may be getting a voice acting update. Now, before you click off the video, hear me out. 2 months ago, the Doors developers released an update known as the Outdoors Update. And within this update, it had a lot of stuff. But there's a few details that they added to the game that proves, or at least implies, that there might be a voice acting update in the future. Now, if it really was happening, you'd be like, you'd most likely have heard of it, but there's a few details that I'd like to go over. First off, let's talk about the groundskeeper for a moment. The groundskeeper is a humanoid figure that can walk around and is very fond of his grass. If you step on it, you'll immediately be killed if he sees you. And he's overall just a top-notch guy. Very good guy, I guess. But there's something about him that you may have missed. The groundskeeper is one of the very few entities within the game with the ability to speak. And not just speak within Roblox speech bubbles, but speak with vocal sounds. However, even if it's not, you'd have heard about it if he was able to speak directly to you with words you can understand, because he doesn't. However, he does have the ability to speak in grunts and growls, stuff like that. Now, that doesn't seem important, really, but for me, this may be a clue that maybe the Doors devs are testing out voice acting, like legitimate voice acting, in their game. Because generally this would be a new thing. They have had voice acting in an April Fool's update before. And that April Fool's update was generally to make fun of people who constantly wanted voice acting in the game. But with the voice acting, no true voice acting actually came to the game. This was because the developers really didn't think Doors needed any voice acting in the first place. And generally, it doesn't. However, there's one more clue to this that I use as evidence, and that's the update to El Goblino. Now, generally, El Goblino is the first entity able to actually speak to you outside of death screens, and you can interact with them. However, in this recent update, the developers decided to add something to him, and that's the ability for his mouth to move. Before, his mouth would never move as he spoke to you, but now it moves and has a couple different formations with his mouth, allowing to give the I'm gonna have to cut this out too. The illusion that he's speaking to you, even if there are no sounds coming out of his mouth. Now, this is a rather odd detail to add, but it definitely seems important to me. Why would they add this if the dialogue doesn't really change? Because generally, you can just skip the dialogue when when you're talking to him. Well, not really, but that just seems a bit odd to me. That, along with the detail that now the speech bubble is able to be seen if you're close enough but facing away. This random update to dialogue, along with the new addition of Grampy, who is the secondary entity to interact and speak to directly, it does feel like they're doing something in the future that's associated with dialogue. Now, this may seem like a bit of a stretch, and honestly, I would agree, but it does seem odd that they'd randomly update this when it has no impact on the game whatsoever, especially since Grampy, even though he was added and is a new dialogue character, his mouth doesn't move whatsoever. So this does lead me to believe that we may be getting some voice acting in the future updates. Now, whether this is a full-on voice acting update to the main game, which I believe it more so is, or if this is just an update, a part 2, if you will, to the April Fool's update. But given the fact that they're already revamping and updating features, and with very few new events, it feels like a bit of a stretch to me that they'd be updating another April Fool's event rather than just coming up with a newer event. So, yeah, that's my theory. That's me putting my tinfoil hat on and becoming theoristic. So, yeah, that's about it.